Our producer, Bob Orsi. Asa Butterfield. And Haley Steinfeld. And thank you for experiencing Comic-Con, Harrison Ford. Right here in the front. Back to the tradition. All right, if you want to settle in, first question's over here.
Hey guys, thanks so much for coming to Comic-Con. You get to keep one of those on the table. Pick your pick. My name is Mark Walters of BigFanboy.com, and it's an honor to have the first question for this. Harrison, I did want to ask you, there's the obvious question of this is kind of a big return to sci-fi for you, doing a movie out in space. It's been a long time since we've seen you do that. And it does sort of seem like this character could be maybe like an older, seasoned version of Han Solo, like a guy that's now been put in charge of a younger generation of the next, badasses in space. What was it about this particular role that made you say, okay, it's time for me to go back up in the stars?
Well, with that, comment your reference to Han and Graf being alike. They're probably nothing alike. Graf's a very complex character that is charged with an awesome responsibility, who recruits and trains young Ender and really in this construction of the story faces a lot of moral issues that are involved in using young people for warfare. And the complex moral issues really are part of Graf's story. Ender doesn't really face so much the issues of morality until the end of the film, when he knows what's happening to him. But Graf is aware of his moral responsibilities all through his part of the story. I think the book deals with a lot of very complex issues of social responsibility and the moral issues that one faces when one is part of a military establishment. I was just delighted to be involved in a film with such high ambition and such talented people. I think Graf is a much more complex character than Han Solo. Doesn't mean that I regret Han Solo.
I never said that. Yeah, thank you.
Question for Asa and Haley. These are characters I admired since I read the book. What did you love about them, and how cool is it to play these characters?
I read the book. I'm a huge fan of science fiction, so I had a great time reading it. And ENDER'S character, yes, the film is a science fiction epic, but to me there's a lot more to it than that. In the novel, and ENDER'S character, one of the reasons it was so intriguing to me is because of the complexity of it. And Ian Gavin talked a lot prior to shooting about where they wanted to take it, and he talked a lot about ENDER'S character and the constant internal struggle that he's facing throughout the film. His development is apparent, and it was really intriguing for me, and we had a good time experimenting with it.
Haley?
Something that I loved about creating a backstory for Petra was also interesting because you're introduced to her a little further into the story. But one of the most exciting things is sort of experiencing the excitement that everybody around us has. It's been such a great experience, and we're so excited to share it with you guys.
Hey, Lindsay Wolf from Taiwan. I just wondered if you guys get a chance to check out the fan experience set up exclusively, for this event. And can you just kind of walk us through different rooms and how does it, resemble the movie?
I'll take it because it was fantastic to work with an incredible production design department on building those sets, and really, really thrilled and grateful to our studio for actually bringing the savings on the sets, bringing the show to you guys. I think it's important, you think of these kind of movies as just big CG events, and they're really not. Wherever possible, and certainly on this movie, wherever we could, we built sets that the actors could move in and be in a space that felt as real as possible. Because you do need a lot of visual effects in a movie like this. But wherever possible, to have tangible, traditional, beautifully built sets, it really helps the actors feel that they're in a real environment. So I'm just very thrilled with the level of design work that Ben Proctor and Marvel designed. Had a set decorators and so on. They did a great job. And you can see, if you go into the ENDER'S experience, you can see the kind of detail in the bunk beds, the cupboards, look at those helmets. Hours were spent on figuring out how that glass in the helmet would reflect light, so you have to embrace the reflected light. How would they create patterns? And then how would the lighting department create lights that would look good reflected in those helmets? So a lot of work by the folks behind the scenes. It's nice to go into a shot. It's really great.
Over here.
Hi, Gavin. Lovely to see you. I was wondering, you received a nod from the Academy Award for a very intimate movie, but you've also done huge epic sci-fi thrillers. Could you talk about what you feel about this movie in particular, and which genre do you like to head toward?
Wow, that's a big question. Interesting. I suppose a lot of times artists sort of fixate on certain themes. A lot of people said, well, you made Tsotsi, which I think is fully referring to, a very small $3 million movie, and then here comes ENDER'S game. I don't want to belittle the themes that I'm focused on, but they're very similar. I mean, you have in both cases protagonists who are troubled kids struggling for an identity in a morally complex universe. The way Harrison described them, these are fabulously morally complex characters. This is not a story about good versus evil in a simplistic way where the character is wronged and has to right the wrong through revenge. This is a case where the character is at war with his own nature. And that was the case in Tsotsi, that was the case in Ender. It's just this time you get to play with a lot more cool toys based on really cool big visual effects. But at its heart, I think why I love this story is it's still a character-driven piece. And what you get here with a film like this, and the fun for me as a director, is I get to have the best of two worlds. I get to play with big visuals, huge, wonderful visual effects, big, epic-looking stuff, but also still have this wonderful character-driven story that requires great performances and complex, nuanced performances.
Thank you so much.
There you go.
Hello everyone, my name is JC Peoples from Here Media. This question is for Harrison and anyone else on the call who would like to answer. The anti-gay views of Orson Scott Card have been getting a lot of attention. Yeah, I'm sorry. The anti-gay views of Orson Scott Card have been getting a lot of attention since the promotion of this film began. Were you aware of Card's work with anti-gay organizations before you began working on this film? And does it at all change how you feel about working on Ender's Game?
The question is for me?
Yes.
I'm so grateful. I think none of Mr. Card's concerns regarding the issue of gay marriage are part of the thematics of this film. And he has written something, I think, that is of value to
side of those that we deal with in this film are not an issue for me to deal with. So I have really no opinion on that issue. I am aware of his statements admitting that the question of gay marriage is a battle that he lost. And he admits that he lost it. I think we all know that we've all won. That humanity has won. And I think it's the end of the story.
Hi, this question's for Bob and Gavin. When making this film, how far ahead are you looking for home entertainment releases, bonus features, commentaries? Are you thinking about these things while you're making the film itself?
I think producers have to think about these. I was just a very film. I was lucky to survive this one. I'll think about the next one. But Bob, go ahead.
You know, Comic-Con is about sharing sort of the behind the scenes and the experience of how we come to this film. So we're very conscious of trying to get as much material just to show how much fun we're having and something we're not having so much fun. Just to kind of catalog what's happening. I think it's a value. In a way, I wish there'd been more of this kind of stuff. When I was growing up, the idea that you can put yourself in film school really by checking out the bonus features of a DVD is fantastic. And now we all have cameras. I'm sure. Have we got all your pictures for our DVD? We're very conscious of the game. Hopefully, it'll be something fun to check out.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tanya. I'm with Glass Magazine. As you mentioned, this is a very ambitious project with very complex characters. In what ways did you research and process your work in order to identify with the characters you played on screen? And what part of it did you take with you while you were working on this project?
For me, having a novel to refer to is always helpful. Having a few films that have been adapted, and as an actor, the amount of resources and things you can gain just from reading the story as well as the script are so massive that it's something which is you just can't put down.
Are we all on? I would say, again, having a novel to go to is so helpful. It's an extra 200 and something pages of just, ideas and clues and just so many things you can pick up on, whether it's written about your character or the other characters. There's so much there and so much to play with. And for me, this was actually sort of my first film that I had to do a lot of physical training, which was a lot of fun for us. We went to Space Camp. We learned how to march, we learned how to salute, and we learned cadences. It was just, from day one, such a great experience.
Harrison, right here. You've had such a great success doing sci-fi, action genre, and so. But a lot of times these movies, the benefit of them is they allow us to talk about social and moral issues, and if you just did a straight drama, we kind of wouldn't accept as an audience. So I was wondering if we just kind of take a step back and look at Interesting. What do you think we're discussing? What kind of conversations can we have from this movie? Although, obviously a piece of entertainment.
This movie, I think, is very pressing, and the novel was very pressing in recognizing something that we now have as a reality in our lives, which is the ability to wage war at a distance, and to do the business of war, somewhat emotionally disconnected from it. And so the morality of a military commander and a military people in the business of war, which has always historically been the case. The youngest of our youngest and fittest of our cultures have always been the ones who were first in line for warfare. And the question of using even younger people, in the book, ENDER'S starts out at 7 years of age. In this case, I think wisely, it has been changed to be a young person, closer to matching his age, 13. It was a wise choice. But the character that I play is responsible for manipulating young people in service of some perceived need of humanity as a whole. And no matter how you try and wrestle with the questions of warfare and the military, the more you realize how complex these issues are and how much attention they deserve. So I think it's really important for us to visit these questions, not only in the daily news and then dismiss them, but in our emotional and civic lives.
Okay, we only have time for like 1 or 2 more questions. I know back here.
Actually, Mr. Ford, I was just wondering if you could talk about your experience as an actor working on this film with Sir Ben Kingsley.
It was great. Despite his moniker, the sternness of him, there's a real guy there, yeoman actor, and very weighty kind of guy, who I vastly enjoyed getting to know. I had not known him before. I had the pleasure of working with him as an actor was a real treat. As was, by the way, the pleasure of working with these young people who are enormously talented, dedicated, and devoted themselves to the telling of this story, and who also possess surprising craft, understanding, and skill. Surprising to me for their ages, forgive me, but enormously talented young people. I give credit to them, and I give credit to Gavin, because casting is so important in these things, and it was a delight to be involved.
Last question.
Hi, my name is Rachel Lasker, and I'm from futurepreviews.com, and my question is, for all 3 of you, what was your favorite trait about your characters, and are there any major moments in the film that you would have personally done different than your character?
What was that last part?
I said, are there any major moments in the film that you personally would have done differently than your characters?
For me, one of the things that I really enjoyed playing with Ed is how he's constantly struggling between his brother and sister. And he's almost like he's got 2 sides to him. I've always wanted to play a darker character in his film and in the novel, and it has moments where he's not glorified. He's a glorified hero, as a better human being, you have a darker side, which I had a lot of fun playing with him. Yeah.
I would say because she has to be. She's put into a world where she doesn't know who to trust and who not to trust. And, you know, in most cases, there's nobody to look to. And I love that in a way, because my character is one of the very few girls in the battle school and the only girl in the army that she's in. She's constantly working to sort of maintain the respect from the guys around her. And I think that when she meets Ender, there's this really truthful connection between the two of them that comes from sort of finding their way and finding their place.
I hate to cut you guys off, but we are actually running over to the panel, so we gotta go.
Can we get one shot of it?
No.